Taylor was born to a working-class family in Welwyn Garden City, but was raised in Hatfield, Hertfordshire, England, where his father worked as a fitter for the de Havilland Aircraft Company. He began playing guitar at age 9, learning to play from his mother's younger brother. As a teenager, he formed bands with schoolmates and started performing concerts under names such as the Juniors and the Strangers. They also appeared on television and put out a single. Part of the band was recruited for a new group called The Gods, which included Ken Hensley. In 1966, The Gods opened for Cream at the Starlite Ballroom in Wembley. On April 1966, at age 18, Taylor went to see a John Mayall's Bluesbreakers performance at the Hop Woodhall Community Centre, Welwyn Garden City, and since Eric Clapton was absent, Taylor got to play in his stead. After playing the second set and garnering Mayall's respect in the process, Taylor left the stage, joined his friends, and exited the venue before Mayall had the chance to speak with him. Still, this encounter proved to be pivotal in Taylor's career when Mayall needed someone to fill Peter Green's vacancy the following year, when Green quit to form Fleetwood Mac. After Brian Jones and the Rolling Stones parted ways in June 1969, John Mayall and Ian Stewart recommended Taylor to Mick Jagger. Taylor believed he was being called in to be a session musician at his first studio session with the Rolling Stones, and impressed Jagger and Keith Richards invited Taylor back the following day to continue rehearsing and recording with the band. He overdubbed guitar on Country Honk and Live With Me for the album Let It Bleed, and on the single Honky Tonk Women released in the UK on the 4th of July 1969. Taylor's onstage debut as a Rolling Stone at the age of 20 was the free concert in Hyde Park, London on the 5th of July 1969. An estimated 250,000 people attended for a show that turned into a tribute to Brian Jones, who had died 2 days before the concert. After the 1973 European tour, Richards' drug problems had worsened and begun to compromise the band's ability to function. Between recording sessions, the band members were living in various countries as UK income tax exiles. And during this period, Taylor appeared on Herbie Mann's London Underground and also on Mann's album Reggae. In November 1973, Taylor underwent surgery for acute sinusitis and missed some of the sessions when the band began working on the LP It's Only Rock and Roll at Musicland Studios in Munich. Not much was achieved during the first 10 days at Musicland, but most of the actual recordings were made there in January 1974 and in April at Stargrove's Jagger's estate in Hampshire. When Taylor resumed work with the band, he found it difficult to get along with Richards. Not long after those recording sessions, Taylor went on a 6-week expedition to Brazil to travel down the Amazon River in a boat and explore Latin music. Just before the release of the album, in October 1974, Taylor told Nick Kent from the NME about the new LP, and that he had co-written Till the Next Goodbye and Time Waits for No One with Jagger. Kent told Taylor he had seen the finished artwork for the sleeve, which revealed the absence of any songwriting credits for Taylor. Taylor worked on various side projects during his tenure with the Rolling Stones. In June 1973, he joined Mike Oldfield on stage at the Queen Elizabeth Hall in a performance of Oldfield's Tubular Bells. Taylor was asked to take part in this project by Richard Branson, as he felt Oldfield was unknown, having just been signed to Branson's fledgling label Virgin Records. Taylor joined Oldfield once more for a BBC television broadcast in November 1973. After his resignation from the Rolling Stones, Jack Bruce invited him to form a new band with keyboardist Carla Bley and drummer Bruce Gary. In 1975, the band began rehearsals in London with tour dates scheduled for later that year. The group toured Europe with a sound leaning more toward jazz, including a performance at the Dutch Pinkpop Festival, but disbanded the following year. A performance recorded on the 1st of June 1975 and another performance from the Old Grey Whistle Test seemed to be the only material available from this brief collaboration. In short, Taylor performed the lead guitar solo on the 1988 Joan Jett and the Blackhearts' top 10 single I Hate Myself for Loving You. Taylor guested with the Grateful Dead on the 24th of September 1988 at the last show of that year's Madison Square Garden run in New York. Taylor lived in New York throughout the 1980s. He battled with addiction problems before getting back on track in the second half of the 1980s and moving to Los Angeles in 1990. During this time, Taylor did session work and toured in Europe, America, and Japan. He also played on the Dramarama album Vinyl, a throwback to classic rock that Taylor was an important part of from the previous decade, playing all guitar tracks which ironically included the Rolling Stones slide guitar song Memo from Turner. In 1990, his CD Stranger in This Town was released by Maze Records, backed up by a mini tour including the record release party at the Hard Rock Cafe, as well as gigs at the Paradise Theatre.